Jim, what a week it's been. What a 2 years it's been, actually.
Oh, my Lord.
And we have the Cardano Constitution draft. It's been approved. How are you feeling?
Well, it's like a checkpoint at a marathon where we get to take a little bit of a breather, but the race continues. 2 years ago, the age of Voltaire began in Scottfest, and in Edinburgh, we said, look, we have to build institutions, democratic consent, and we have to get a constitution written. So Intersect has been created. Pragma has been created. More institutions are on the way, and the existing institutions are kind of refreshing themselves for their new role in place. Democratic consent has been achieved through SIP 1694. It's on chain now. Chang hard forked in, and Chang +1 is probably coming in January. And that will ensure that DREPs and Constitutional Committee and the SPOs can now actually control all protocol parameters and hard fork and treasury. But the biggest lift was a constitution because these are fundamental rights of all users of ADA. And the question was how to construct a process that is sufficiently inclusive that it would represent the ecosystem as a whole. 63 workshops in 50 countries, and delegates from those countries traveling to Nairobi and here to Argentina. It was an enormous logistical challenge, but we got it done. And they came in for 2 very hard days, very technical days of debate. And at the end, we took a vote, and 95% of the delegates voted yes on the draft, which means we have a draft constitution that gets to now be verified on chain after Chang +1. So it's just humbling, and it's a great experience, and it's been a heck of a lot of fun to kind of watch it go through that journey and get to the other side. And now that we are at the other side, we have bigger challenges to overcome. We have to get a budget done. We have to get the roadmap of Cardano where it needs to be. But it's no longer a lonely exercise. It's one with thousands of people around the world who are tirelessly invested in governance. And that's a great privilege of it. And we made a lot of friends, and it's been a truly amazing experience to get to know them and learn from them and listen to them and bring the world together. This was such an international event. You could see all the flags were the people who participated, and it really gave a visualization of how Cardano has really changed the world already.
Absolutely. It's been absolutely incredible, and it's just been so inspiring to see so many people come together just to have their say, like delegates, alternates, community members. They've flown all from around the world just to come to this and to shape this big step towards a decentralized future for Cardano in regards to on-chain governance. And yeah, it was an emotional day yesterday.
Yeah.
And, this is a big step, and 95%, for the first go, that's awesome.
Yeah, I expected it to be like split, and there'd be hard debates. We built time into the budget for Friday to kind of try to resolve those things, and we expect to maybe be there deep into the night. People in Nairobi were there until midnight, actually, on the first day, and 11 on the second day. So they worked really, really hard. But that first vote really was a testimony to the process, because a lot of hard decisions had already been made and hard conversations had already been had over the last year through the 63 workshops that were held. So there was a lot of prep work that went into this event, and the goal was to try to really narrow down the wedge issues that were so significant that people couldn't let it get to the next level. And we certainly had a few, and words changed and definitions and all these other things had to be discussed. But we got it done, and we got it over the line. And now the next challenge is getting it ratified on chain. And the challenge there is that while there's consensus amongst the delegates, and they've really put the time in, is there's an enormous amount of education that has to be done about what is the Constitution and how does it work and why is it the way it is. So getting the DREPs to understand that is going to be the next mile. But the good news is there's surrogacy now. So all the constitutional delegates have a dual role. They helped write the Constitution, but then they're also going to deploy the Constitution and get it evangelized.
It's it's been absolutely incredible, and I'm really looking forward to the next stage. Obviously, with the through the DREPs then, and just seeing how it moves forward. But right now, we're on the right track. We are moving in the right direction towards the decentralized future, which is so exciting.
It really is exciting, and What's really cool about it is the swarm intelligence that we get from it. This process of workshops is going to continue because it's so incredibly inclusive. And so we're going to do it on the product side, the marketing, branding, and growth side. We're going to do it on the budget side. So there's going to be many parallel tracks of workshops, and it's going to bring the whole world together. And whether people are a member of Intersect or they built stuff on Cardano or not, as long as they're a member of the community, they'll have an opportunity to have a say, participate, and be in that ecosystem. And then we can aggregate all of that knowledge and wisdom and all that direction and strategy. And so we really have a bottom-up approach for how to grow the ecosystem. No other cryptocurrency has that. This is not something you see in Ethereum or Solana or Sui or any of these other places. They rely on these brilliant foundations to kind of figure out, oh gosh, where do we go and what do we do? And what we've really mastered here is a governance process where we, from the bottom up, can get the best of people and really get them to participate and collaborate. So governance was a huge win in 2024, and in 2025 it will continue to be a win, but also now we can do it for marketing, branding, and growth, and for product and for budget. So that's going to be fun to watch kind of roll out.
Yeah, I'm excited. What are your goals for 2025?
For Cardano in particular, I'd like to see Cardano become the DeFi layer for Bitcoin. So we met with a very prominent development firm here called Fairgate, who kind of invented that technology, BitVMX and these other things. And we're going to form a very strong partnership with them and very aggressively pursue this goal. And in fact, it's probably our highest priority outside of Laos. And I'm going to build an entire parallel team rapidly. So it'll take about 2 months to get that to full fruition, but I would love to have a very significant demo for Bitcoin 2025. Show up and say, let me show you how Bitcoin DeFi works, and bring that to their ecosystem. And Cardano is very unique in that Cardano is a spiritual successor to Bitcoin. So if you're a Bitcoin developer and you look at Cardano, it's all the stuff you always wished Bitcoin had.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to get a ton of Bitcoin developer adoption, and people forget that Bitcoin is 4 times the size of Solana and Ethereum together. So it's a sleeping giant. When it awakens, it's like when the Titans awaken to retake Olympus. It's going to be a very fun event. Second, we got to get all this governance stuff done. So we got to get the Constitution ratified. We got to get the budget process finished. We got to get a stable government in. So there's an interim constitutional committee. We have to rotate out and get a full constitutional committee. Got to strengthen the institutions. Got to make sure Intersect is where it needs to be. Third, we got to really get some of these community innovation projects where they need to be. So Midgard and Gummy Worm and ZK Fold and things like that, they need to be given the resources necessary to get to the next level, get into mainnet. As we saw with Hydra, 1 million transactions a second across all the different heads. That technology is remarkably promising. But
it is, yeah.
It needs a little bit of tender love and care to get productized and integrated into dApps and DeFi. And here's the thing, the community wants to do it. Anastasia wants to do it. Sunday Labs wants to do it. There's dozens of great companies in our ecosystem that are willing and able to do it. They just need the resources to do it, and they need some help. So getting that off the ground is very important. Walking into a multi-client environment and getting that where it needs to be, enormous amount of work there with Pragma and Intersect working together and figuring out that relationship and getting a Rust node and other such things into market. And also the prototyping of Laos. That's the crown jewel of the Ouroboros research agenda, and we proved with Paris how to do it. So now we're following that process with Laos, and we're moving very quickly towards a production-ready prototype that can be RFP'd, and we can get that into market. So there's an enormous amount of work that has to be done to get that over the line, and it's a very, very technical thing. And quality of life improvements for Plutus. Plutus V4 has to continue what we did with V2 and V3. We're radically improving the development experience for people so it's easier to develop Cardano applications. So these are things on the capabilities side that we need to get done. In terms of ecosystem growth hacking, we have products that are launching. Midnight is a super high priority, and that's going to be an enormous amount of fun to see that finally come to fruition. And that brings the whole ecosystem to Cardano. The airdrop is going to be to 135 million people. And that's a lot of users. That's a lot of cheddar. It's going to be fun to see that come through. And then also Quantum Hosky is going to become a very big priority in probably the second half of next year. And that's going to bring the GameFi, the metaverse, and the meme coin space into the Cardano ecosystem. So that's a lot of work as well, but it's work of a different kind. But it uses very similar principles to Midnight because it's going to be a partner chain and multi-resource consensus and these types of things. So yeah, a lot of priorities, a lot of things.
Yeah. Just trying to figure out the TLDR there. So we've got Bitcoin integration, Pragma, Midnight, governance, Plutus. What else did I miss?
And quantum Hosky.
And quantum Hosky. Yeah. We've got a busy year for 2025.
And that's just my personal goals. And then there's a Cardano ecosystem. They got a whole different thing going on.
We've got a lot going on.
Yeah. Oh, there's Rare Evo. That's growing by leaps and bounds. It's probably going to be twice the size next year. They had 2,000 people. I think they actually have a shot at 4,000. A lot of cross-blockchain collaboration as well. You know, we joined DREC, which meant we're now working with Hashgraph and Algorand and XRP. You know, we would love to see if we can make a deal with Solana where I go to one of their events and they go to Rare Evo. So that'd be a lot of fun to start building those relationships out. You know, so a lot of cross-blockchain conversations next year. That's going to be the year of interoperability. You know, 2024 is the year of governance. 2025 is the year of interoperability and just getting everybody to work together. And that's kind of the theme for our ecosystem. And then what that's going to be nice is it's going to bring a lot of liquidity and a lot of adoption and attention to the Cardano native token space and all the projects that are there. So they need some love and attention, and I think they're finally going to get that missing love. We're going to buy them flowers.
Buy them flowers, absolutely. Because you have been really focusing on cross-chain collaboration, and you've been teasing about like Ripple, and you chatting to Brad, and all of these great calls. And you know, the fact that there is this focus on cross-chain collaboration, like it's so important in regards to building towards a bigger decentralized future, you know, because at the end of the day, some chains are stronger than others and everyone has their own connections and everyone has their own place, right, in this ecosystem. And ultimately, we are working towards the same goal, you know, just in different ways. Why do you think that cross-chain collaboration is so important?
Well, it's important, but the tokenomics typically work against it. It's important because they have users, we have users, we do things well, they do things well, and when you trade, you create mutual value. When you don't trade, you create silos and wars and fractionalization, and you know, just nothing good comes from isolation. The world works better when people trade. There's actually a lovely paper on how many people it takes to make a pencil, and it turns out it's a surprisingly large number.
Yeah.
You know, who makes the eraser, who makes the metal, who makes the wood, who makes the paint, who makes the graphite. All of that, it requires domain expertise and specialized tools and different factories, and eventually thousands of people have to coordinate to make something as simple as that. So if you're not trading with people, you don't have the ability to build anything of substance. So cross-chain collaboration is important from that dimension. The challenge is tokenomics create an incentive for people to believe that anything that's not their token is evil and the enemy.
Yeah.
So this most with Bitcoin maximalism, but there's maximalism everywhere. So what Midnight does is it changes that narrative because it appears to be a layer 2 to everybody. With multi-resource consensus, you can pay fees and block rewards to multiple chains at the same time. And that means from everybody's perspective, it feels like it's their system, especially if you can pay your transaction fees in the underlying asset. So you pay it Ether, or you pay it in Sol, or you pay it in ADA. So I think that's the key for interoperability, is to create an interoperability layer that is by its very nature designed to play nice with everybody. And everybody has a mutual incentive for that thing to grow up and get great. And that's why we don't have interoperability, because while the technology is there, we haven't figured out the tokenomics side of it and the consensus side of it. So if Cardano can bring that to market and be the entity that figures that out, we'll end up being kind of the service layer of the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem for decentralized storage and social media and AI and private computation like Midnight, these types of things. And that's very valuable because that's like every dApp in all of crypto.
Yeah, it would be huge for crypto because it massively connects with adoption, doesn't it, at the end of the day? Because, you know, right now crypto is so overwhelming for people coming in because there's Solana, there's Bitcoin, there's Cardano, there's Algorand, there's so many different blockchains. Yeah. Some people just don't know where to start. And
well, obviously Cardano.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we're absolute legends. But like some people just don't know, you know, it's overwhelming. So the fact that, you know, you're focusing on Cardano being that layer that is cross-chain and it has that, you know, it can adapt and connect with Solana, it can connect with Bitcoin, it can have that collaboration now. I think that's huge. It's going to really help with adoption and it's going to bring more users in, and Cardano is going to be that chain that's going to bring all these users in.
That's the goal, no matter where we get them, we want them. And if it comes through governance, it's great. If it comes through Bitcoin, it's great. It comes through interoperability with the ecosystems, great. Partner chain network, great. Quantum Hosky bringing the memes, GameFi, and metaverses together, that's great. There's a little something for everybody now, Cardano land. And if you built a great ecosystem, there needs to be something for everybody. So I like the holism and the balance, and I like the diversity that we have. And I like the fact that we never betrayed our principles. We didn't do the VC thing. We didn't betray the development quality. We don't get the hacks. We still have the formal methods. We still have the science. But we learned how to have fun along the way. And that's the difference. That's the difference. And it's not as stressful as it used to be. We don't have the bear market blues. We got a little kick in our step, and we're just having a really good time along the way.
Yeah. It's all very double smash, isn't it? I have to ask, what is Quantum Hosky?
Well, Quantum Hosky is probably the most ambitious thing I've done conceptually, because it's combining together concepts that human beings have difficulty with into a metaverse. So I studied mathematics, and mathematics, you learn things like hyperdimensional geometries, non-Euclidean geometries, these types of things. And if you study it deep enough, you develop an intuition for it, but human beings don't naturally have an intuition for it. So typically we live in 3 spatial dimensions plus time, and that's block space. Well, what if you had a 4th spatial dimension? So instead of X, Y, and Z, you have W, X, Y, and Z. What the hell does that even mean? What does that even look like? Like, how can you visualize a 4-dimensional space? So what we're going to do is we're going to create an open world that kind of looks a little bit like Minecraft. So it's got a crafting component to it. Instead of being a 3-dimensional space, it'll be a 4-dimensional space. And also we're going to change the geometry so that a straight line is no longer the shortest point between 2 distances. So that's no longer Euclidean. What this means is it's something that when you get parachuted into it is counterintuitive, and you personally will have never seen anything like it before. So it's just a completely new experience. Then on top of that, what we want to do is add some gameplay elements that have never been done before as well. Particularly one of my white whales was I always wanted to develop a consensus algorithm where you can mine with your mind. So you can take an EEG headset, put it on, and I can create an algorithm where by focused attention, you actually make blocks. Okay, so then you can create gameplay elements that are connected to how engaged you are and how you feel inside the game world, individually and in group. So you can, when you, like with MMOs like World of Warcraft or EverQuest, you have parties and groups and things like that, friends. Well, now you have friends, but you can basically align your brainwaves with your friends and have a different game experience than you would, if you're solo.
Wow.
Okay, there's more. And then I wanted to put NPCs inside the game world. And by the way, this technology exists. It's OpenBCI has it. It's called the Galia headset. So we have a project we're working on with them. And then there's actually this thing called Brain ID from Arctop that actually allows you to identify that a person is really human by their brainwaves, and everybody has a unique fingerprint in their brainwaves. So you have proof of human as well inside the game. Then I wanted to add a quantum element to it because I love randomness and stochasticism. It's like a chaos engine. So they have these devices that are made. They're called quantum random number generators, and they use photonic effects. And basically, they have truly random numbers from them. So it's like mining truly random numbers. Well, you can take those devices and add like a proof of work algorithm in, and that can add randomness into the game world, and then that entangles with the game world to create random effects across the players in the world itself. So it can change the geometry of the system and the dimensions of the system, the time of the system. So time can work slower in certain places or faster in other places. And then even if it affects the player, it can take all the money out of your wallet or add money to your wallet, do all kinds of insane things to your player. So that chaos inside the system makes the game really unpredictable and quite fun. Under the hood, what this does is it actually creates a cryptographic beacon, a quantum cryptographic beacon as a service, creates proof of human as a service, and actually because of time dilation effects, you can have an NTP replacement. So it's super useful infrastructure. But above the hood, it will airdrop it to all the meme coins, the GameFi coins, and the Metaverse coins, and Hosky, and basically brings all the degens into one place where they have a crafting game, And the token is used as part of the crafting process. You burn the token to build stuff, and also to protect your buildings and the things you have from the chaos of the world. You have to consume some of the token as well. So the tokenomics directly align towards a high degree of consumption. And you get the token from meditating, you get the token from mining, or Ouroboros maintaining the state. So it's a tripartite consensus system using Minotaur, excuse me. So it'll be a partner chain. So it's an ambitious project, and it's one of those things you have a verbal description, but it's hard to wrap your mind around it unless you actually physically see it. And the final thing, which I think is so out there, it's probably the most out there, if time dilation and hypergeometries and these other things aren't out there, is dish brain computing. So that is where you actually take human neurons or rat neurons or whatever animal you want, you grow them in a petri dish, and then you train the brain in a dish to actually play a video game. And this has been done. There's a company.
That's insane.
There's a company called Cortical Labs that does this, and you can go to YouTube, and there's people who have actually trained brain dish computers to play Doom and things like that. Wow. So we're going to have dish brain computing do the NPCs inside the game world. So you combine that with large language model, lightweight large language model, custom trained for the game. So you have realistic NPCs. And MIT just did an experiment using LLMs in Minecraft, and they had 1,000 agents playing. The NPCs created their own civilization. They created their own religion, the taxation system, all these things. They're very human-like in their behavior. Adding a dish brain computer too actually adds a completely different element to it that allows you to get creativity and randomness into the LLM. So you get really, truly humanized NPCs. So it's this amazing game world that puts all these different things together and allows people to experience the world in a completely different way that they've never experienced before. And also accelerates the growth of quantum devices and dish brain computing, which are going to be big deals. And it's crafting world, so you can actually build amazing things inside of it.
That's incredible. So TLDR is Quantum Hosky is like a double smash immersive Cardano Minecraft with much more and a lot of randomness.
Yeah, chaos as a service. It's going to be something that no one has ever seen before when we put it all together. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create something completely original that it's just an experience, and you go in and it just blows your mind and you say, my God, what is this? And it's something then I think the meme coin space and these other people can really rally behind and have a lot of fun with. And by doing that, it'll bring tens of millions of new users into the Cardano orbit and really help grow our ecosystem. And what's really cool about it is most of the pieces for this have already been built.
Yeah.
For various different projects around the world. And it's just kind of, bringing the A team together. So I have to go and, assemble the Avengers and get them to go and do it. And this technology is surprisingly more advanced than people realize. So I think we can assemble the Avengers, we can get them all together and get it done. Trim is going to be the product manager for it. He's the guy that works on Hydra Doom right now, and this is kind of his background. Really great guy.
Hosky founder.
And it's going to be so much fun to build that up. And obviously Hosky will be kind of the flagship of this, because I love that community, and there's over 100,000 holders, and it's a good community. So we'll work closely with them and the rest of the ecosystem and the broader ecosystem, Solana meme coins, the Ethereum ones, and all these others, and just kind of bring them all home.
You're the founder of Cardano, co-founder of Ethereum, casual daddy, absolute legend, outside meditator. What is your morning routine?
If I'm in one location for a long period of time, I start developing an organic morning routine. So I try to get up around 4:30, 5 a.m., I work out. And I know the internet doesn't believe that because we're all overweight, but I actually do. It's the food that gets you. It's not the exercise. But I work out, and then I try to meditate, and then I try to read for an hour to 2 hours in the morning. Because there's just so much information you get as a CEO, and technical reports and Slack messages, and I wish I could had more time to read more books. And then I go to work and try to sync with the European side of the house, because they get up a little. Obviously there's a time zone difference, so 7 a.m. my time is afternoon their time, so you have to work hard to keep that going well. And then I try to work till about 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and then I try to reserve the rest of that time for kind of deep work. And so all the emails that I have to send, or videos I need to watch, or books I need to read, I have that next window, and I go home, get something to eat, you know. So that's kind of the routine that I really enjoy if I'm in one location. The challenge is I typically travel about 200 to 250 days a year. I've been to 16 countries just this year, you know, all over the place. It's a lot of travel. And the issue there is you're just perpetually jet lagged, and you have an unorthodox schedule. Like here at the Constitutional Convention, I've only gotten 5 hours of sleep every night. So I'm exhausted. But I still try to get up. Like I got up 5:30 this morning, ran a 5K, and
Wow.
do that, and you know, and now we got to go do the signing ceremony after this. You know, you do all the
Yeah.
interviews, so that's the routine that I try to embrace. And if I have the ability to take some time off, then I try to do some really special things. Like I'm doing a darkness retreat, for example, in January, where I'm going to go into a room and spend days and days and days in pitch black with no sound and no light and no digital devices, and kind of reflect on life and death. It's kind of a war crime, but if you do it to yourself, it doesn't count. So that'll be fun and enlightening, and you know, stuff like that. And so I try to add that into the routine as well, where there's a checkpoints of self-reflection and enlightenment that you go through. Recently, I did the ketamine retreat, and that was very productive. People really like it. It was correlated with the price action of ADA, so everybody said, "Can we give Charles more ketamine?" That seemed to work.
Get this man some more histamine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, these types of things are things I try to sprinkle in addition to the monotony of the routine, or else you end up like the Nine Inch Nails song. You know, every day is exactly the same.
No, I might sign myself up to one of those dark retreats. That sounds really cool. And yeah, thanks for sharing your morning routine with us. Thanks for your time today and everything that you do. You're an absolute legend, and we love you, Charles.
It's
We do actually have a gift for you. We got you this shirt. So got number 1, and then on the back it says Cardano number 1. It's not a fake, it's real.
Aw, thank you so much. Thank you.
We're matching.
Twinsing.
We are, we're twinnies. So I don't actually have number 1. I have 69 because it's a nice number, but obviously Castle Daddy has to have number 1. So now we're matching. We're vibing.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.